morning, everybody. So today is a PaoPoint day. We are very excited to start our PaoPoint day today. This is the very first time we try it. So our very first speaker is Thomas. You can see that he's a little bit anxious right now. I'm going to give you a little bit about Thomas' introduction. So the very first speaker used to be called, I don't know if you remember, the person was orange color. Before we all got to know his name, so he's never afraid of expressing his ideas. And that is the first step of improving one's English ability. Do you agree? Yes. So let's welcome Thomas for his speech.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about a weird graphic design style. So it's New Ugly style. As you can see, there's an ugly in it, but is it all about how ugly it is? Actually, it's trending now because people think it looks really avant-garde. To know what New Ugly style is, we have to acquaint ourselves to Yui Takada first. So Yui Takada is a Japanese graphic designer. Basically, he's the representative figure of New Ugly style. That is, he's the creator of it. In 2017, a Japanese graphic designer association, it's called JAGADA, they invited Yui to design the key vision of the exhibition. So these are his works. Apparently, the design was really controversial. That some even commented that his messy design is an insult to Jagada and even to the graphic designers. It was really mean, wasn't it? Anyway, it's still an unprecedented design that people have never seen before. So these are the elements of New Ugly designs. We have deformed words, we have exaggerating colors, which I like it, and we have random layouts. Yui said the key point to make a New Ugly design is to put anything that pops out your mind. And last but not least, make sure your design is not conformed to general taste of art. Do you know that New Ugly is literally in our daily life? For example, this, the owl's athletics. You know this, right? And this, also this, and this. There are so many things that can relate to New Ugly designs. So what do we learn from New Ugly? Now we know that ROC aesthetic isn't just about how ugly it is. It's a style, and it's a trend. It's even a part of our culture, though I'm not so willing to admit it. And New Ugly has given us a new imagination to design and arts. It tells us to step out of the norm, and it's quite fun, right? So that's my speaking today. Thank you for listening.
So thank you so much for Thomas' sharing, and I personally don't really like it. But I guess everybody has their own standard of beauty, and we can't really judge. But I do understand that it was talking about our local street signs, you know, those kanban. You have to use Taiwanese, so it has that kind of feel. So the next speaker is Gray, and I have to talk a little bit about Gray. Gray majors in radio and television, and I think he's probably the one that improved the most in this class, if you agree. So as he's into Southeast Asian cultures, so he's going to talk a little bit about Songkran. So let's welcome Gray.
Hi everyone, I'm Gray. Today I'm share a vibrant spirit of Songkran. And I think that many of you will think Songkran is a water festival because that people usually have a water fire this day. And by throwing the water on peoples, they can purify themselves and also bring a good luck for the new year. And here are some tradition costumes that Thai people would do in this day. The first one is bathing the Buddha. By pouring water with fragrant liquids over the Buddha's status, they can show their purify themselves and also honor the virtue. And the other gentle action of the pouring scented water over elders and monks, this is also a symbol of gratitude and seeking the blessing. And this tradition reflects the core value of Thailand society, emphasizing the respect, humility, and also strong family bonds. Here are another unique one that I think that seldom people know is sand tower. You can see Thai people bringing sand into the temple, and then they will pile the sand into towers with patterned flags and also flower petals. And this costume has its meanings of fulfilling wishes and also accumulating the virtues. In addition to the water, it is common that Thai people would snare a herbal powder called marrow in Hui Yan to others' face, and this has an origin that in the application of this white powder as a blessing and to cool down in the hot summer seasons. And I think that many people like me would guess the national flower of Thailand is lotus, but actually it's golden shower. And this flower is also a symbolic flowers of Songkran. And we stay in the world with division and conflicts, but the Songkran always serve as a strong reminder of our shared humanity. And it also teaches us the importance of families, respect, forgiveness, and the joy of coming together. Sawadi Bimai. This sentence is Happy New Year. And I hope you guys can have a wonderful year. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, great. The next person is going to be Ramon. So while Ramon is setting up his file, I'm going to talk a little bit about him. Do you guys know a movie called The Proposal? Was it Sandra Bullock or was it Ryan Reynolds? You know, they go to Alaska and then he works for him. He's a few years, I think a lot more years younger than Sandra Bullock. Anyway, Ramon, the name Ramon, this name from a student is the very first time I came across besides the movie. So, but he has nothing to do with that character because they're totally different. If you have seen a movie, you will know exactly what I mean. So let's welcome Ramon.
Okay, so good morning guys. Today I'm going to talk about a little bit stressful or depressed topic, but the phenomenon is getting more and more common between teenagers, which is self-harming or simply mean cutting themselves. Okay, so first I'm just going to clarify the situation. Self-harming does not mean they want to suicide or they want to lose their lives. To them is a way or a method to deal with certain situations. So, according to the data in the United States, there are about 15% of teenagers have admit that they have experience of self-cutting, and we can show that there are more hidden cases because most of those people don't want others to know they are doing so. So let's just talk about a really practical thing. How do we find out those who cut themselves? First, one obvious thing is that to their behaviors, they usually wear some inappropriate clothing. What do I mean inappropriate? It's just like wearing long sleeves t-shirts or pants in a really hot summer day or in casual situations. Or you can find some unexplainable bruises or scars on their body. And moving on to the object around them, you can often find some sharp tools, such as knives, scissors, or disposable blades or razor, because they are the easiest tools for them to get and easiest to use. And then you can also encounter some blood stain on their clothes, tissues in the trash can, or on their towels. And moving on, and what we can do by judging their emotion is that often they usually have a very unstable mood, just like a roller coaster going up and down and up and down. So let's moving on to why do they do that, and how can we help them? The first thing is if those teenagers are lack of self-esteem and feeling they have a lot of defects, to recognize their personalities and give them positive feedback is very important for them. And then, for those who accumulated too much negative feelings and they cannot deal with it, we can become a good listener, just like the last week we talked about. And then, moving on to, for those who feel ignored or abandoned, which is normally caused by parents or busy working or something like that, it's crucial to accompany them and give them and make sure that they know we always stand by them. And for the last one, for those who feel desperate or they feel they are in a predicament, we can be their guardian or supporter to help them go through the situation. So, what if you encounter a case? We need to admit that all of us are not an expert. So the first thing you could do is to encourage them to go for an expert or psychologist to ask for professional help. And then the best thing we could do is to accompany them throughout all the process and until they are cured. So one last word. Never hesitate to help them if you see that. Thank you.
That's actually a very good topic. I think nowadays there are a lot of students that are experiencing something like that. It's not just their parents' responsibility. I think we as friends, we should also step in and we can help them. So our next speaker is Peter. And everybody knows him because he used to talk about Headhunter, right? Yes. So I'm going to introduce him a little bit. Peter, somehow I always thought that he studies law. I have no idea why. Until last night, I was trying to find out what his major was, and it turns out to be economics. Is it right?
Oh yeah.
Yes. So he is going to graduate. I said he is graduating, but because the graduation commencement was last week, but then our class is not over yet, so he's going to stop with us for 2 more weeks, including today. That would be 3 weeks. So let's welcome him to give us a talk.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Peter, and today I'm going to share you with carbon footprint. And carbon footprint is an environmental indicator to replace the amount of greenhouse emissions, and it help us to clarify the greenhouse gas emission, to know how we can help the world to reduce the carbon emission. So, and what is important? Why is the carbon footprint important? And first, we know global sharing is very important, and we also want to do something for this. But sometimes we don't know if what we do is really efficient to help the world to reduce the carbon footprint. So carbon footprint is a specific index to let us know what we are doing is really efficient to help the world to reduce the greenhouse sharing like CO2, to reduce less to help the world. And second is, as a consumer, we should know if the products we bought is really benefit to the earth, or it's just a, like teacher say, it's just a greenwash product. So I think greenhouse carbon footprint is a good index for us to clarify if it is a greenwash product. Okay, so here is some tips for us to reduce ourselves carbon footprint. First is consume local season product. By consuming proximity or 0-mile product, we can just reduce the carbon footprint, like refrigeration or transportation. And second is use high energy efficiency appliance. Using high energy efficient appliance can use the energy more efficiently. So it helps us to save electricity or waters. And the third is use water and electricity efficiently. We can solve the everyone knows that we should save waters and electricity. And by the way, we can save waters, save hundreds of liters of water by turning off the tap while soaping up or brushing our teeth. And the fourth is using sustainable transportation whenever possible, like taking public transportation or other methods like bicycle or electricity scooters can help us save the world. And thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for Peter's sharing. So the next speaker is Megan. Everybody remembers the game Jeopardy, right? Hello. Do you still remember the game that she played with Sharon? She and Sharon introduced, they didn't say it's Jeopardy, but you guys should know it's Jeopardy. So Megan is an economics major student loving photography. But what you didn't know is that she is a freshman. Yeah? You guys didn't know. I didn't know that until last night. It's always last night. I checked your major and your year. I was like, oh my goodness. So she loves photography, filming, and film editing. She also loves traveling to different places, even though she has a bit of aerophobia. And she's a sweet girl, so we're gonna start with her talk.
Hello everyone. For today's PowerPoint, I wanted to talk to you guys about FOMO. So what is FOMO? FOMO stands for fear of missing out. And it is a term used to describe the anxiety that we feel from the idea that others might be having fun or exciting experiences while we're not involved. So I'm going to start by sharing a personal experience with you guys first. For your information, I'm a very introverted person and I get extremely uncomfortable when I'm in an unfamiliar environment. And I'm a freshman, so before I got into college, I had a specific fantasy about college life. And this fantasy came from all the American TV shows or movies that I've watched growing up. So when I got into college last year, I participated in basically every activity that my department held to make friends with everyone. I also agreed to all kinds of social events with people I'm not familiar with just to catch up with the latest gossip about my classmates and my friends. I also skipped many classes due to hanging out with my new friends. My Instagram looked just like what I imagined a college life would look like. Going to parties and having fun with lots of friends every day. But after a few months, I felt very exhausted and empty. I realized that I was suffering from FOMO. All these months, I was trying to prove to others that I was enjoying college, without realizing that what I was doing was trying to prove that to myself. So I'm going to get back to my topic, which is FOMO. So what are some symptoms of FOMO? There are two most common symptoms. One is on the emotional side, which is feeling pressured to participate in activities, though they may not match our interests or things we value. Overcommitting is also one of it. which means saying yes to invitations out of fear of missing out on experiences, though it may lead to exhaustion, which I felt. The more obvious symptoms that we may realize is when we feel the desire to check our social media more and more often. Now that social media is so convenient, we get to compare ourselves with all our friends or these idealized influencers on the internet every day. So how can we deal with FOMO? First, and the most important step, is to realize and be aware of the situation. Second, we should shift our focus from social media back to ourselves. We should take time to reflect on our interests and things we value. We should participate in activities that we truly enjoy and spend time with people that we feel comfortable with. And from my experiences, I started photography and I cut down on all the unnecessary hangouts and only spend time with my closer friends. Lastly, we should limit our time on social media. Social media is quite a toxic environment, and we should be aware of the impacts that it has on us. Dealing with FOMO is an ongoing and a personal process that may take a while. However, through these slow steps of trying to get to know ourselves and try to find a balance between our life, we get to surround ourselves with the things and the people we love. Therefore, live a life that we truly enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our sweet freshman. You guys didn't know she was a freshman, but she is. It was a very interesting topic. I didn't even know anything about FOMO before she sent me an idea, her idea that she was going to talk about it. And again, I need to emphasize that I am also an introverted person. Do you guys agree? No, you don't agree. Okay, so next speaker is going to be Carrie. Carrie is going to talk about post-crossing. This is something I have done for 3 years. I think I have sent more than 1,000 post-crossing postcards. You could probably look it up in Taiwan, the list. I might be like 100 something. So anyway, so the following speaker, Carrie, is a very interesting fellow who lives in the same town as I am. Every time when I mention Luzhou, I would have to ask my students whether anyone lives in my town because I don't want people to spot me wearing flip-flops, shorts, the ugly clothes with my heavy eyeglasses and stuff like that. And because I don't want people to spot me as an ugly person. So anyway, he has a very interesting British accent, and I wonder how he got it. So let's welcome Carrie.
Okay, hello everyone, my name is Carrie. Today I'm going to talk about post-crossing. Before I introduce this website, I'm going to ask you guys a question. When is the last time you actually write a letter with a pen? I'm not mentioning in emails or texts. I mean, really, grab a pen and write a letter. When was the last time you guys did that? I didn't think that you will do this in this day, right? I actually just write 6 postcards last month because of this website. And you might ask why. And it can trace back to 7 years ago. My sister invited me to join this website. And with this website, you can write postcards to strangers that you don't know and all around the world. And it is post-crossing. You guys can search it online if you want to. And so, like what I just mentioned, with this website, you can write postcard to strangers you don't know. So how does it work? It actually, you have to set up an account first. After that, you will get a person's identity and there's information about he or she and their address, and most importantly, there's a postcard ID. So after getting this, you can start to write a postcard. And what I just said, it's important to write your postcard ID on it. So you can write any content about it on it. You can I usually write anything about Taiwan on the postcard because I want to introduce this beautiful island to those who don't know. So you can write anything on it, and then you post it, and you send it. And after he or she gets it, he will register with the postcard ID, so that you can know that the postcard is arrived successfully. And after that, another stranger will get your information and your address and another postcard ID, so that he or she can write a postcard back to you. So after you write a postcard, you can get one. So that's a kind of circle. And after repeating this process, you can get as much as postcard you can get. Yes. And with this website, you can gain some global perspective and knowing another culture. Like I sent a postcard to a friend in Germany, and I do write my Instagram on it. And after he get that, he actually sent the invitation of Instagram friends invitation so back to me. So I accepted, and we actually chat. And he decided to come to Taiwan next year. So I probably will have some dinner with him or what. I think it's quite fun because we were still chatting right now. So most importantly, you can make friends on it, and you can also collecting some beautiful postcard. I think it's quite meaningful because it's not an easy way to get those cards. So, and then I actually improve my English ability by doing this because you can train your writing or expressing. So this is the website that I recommended. So that's the end of my speech. Thank you.
Okay, that's a really good timing. Poster crossing is something that I used to enjoy a lot in the past. And I personally like any postcards with colorful doors. You know, just a photo with colorful, like red doors, blue doors. Do you guys remember this show called Wei Guai? Do you guys remember the red door in Italy? I actually came across that door a long time ago, and I took a photo of it. So I personally like that kind of thing, and also bicycles and vintage cards and all that. And now my house, my apartment has a few postcards that are hung on my wall and also on my bookshelves because I played that post crossing for many years, and I got them, I kind of put them onto the frame. I think it's quite fun, but you kind of have to understand that it's time consuming, also money consuming. If you don't have a lot of money, you should not do it. But then you are able to make a few friends. So I'm going to introduce Letitia. Everybody knows her because everybody knows that she has a very beautiful English accent and intonation, right?
Yes.
See? So Letitia gave me a very great impression in the very first week, but I had a hard time remembering her name. It's not because Letitia is not a beautiful name. It is a beautiful name. But somehow, because in the beginning of the semester, we all wore masks, right? So I could only remember your eyes, not your hairstyle. But then I finally got to remember who her name is. So we should just blame it on my aging problem because people get old, they tend to forget. So let's welcome Letitia to talk about Know What Your Heart Wants.
Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to tell you something that is more light and breezy. Know what your heart wants. I'm going to give you a few tips on how to figure this out. Right, so just like the Maslow hierarchy of needs, like this, when you meet someone or you're already in a relationship with someone, I think you should always filter the traits that you long for in a partner or in a relationship into 4 categories. The first one is need. Need means that your relationship cannot last without this. Like, for example, I need a sense of security. And if my partner can offer me this sense of security, even if he looks like Xu Guanghan, I still can stay with him. Alright, so
the very first question you have to ask yourself when you meet someone or you're in a relationship or you're in doubt is that, does this person fulfill my needs? And that is the very essential question that you should consider when you're in one. And after your needs are fulfilled, you can start to get into the wants. Wants is something that you should only consider after your needs are fulfilled. Like, I want him to be rich, or I want him to have long hair, or I want someone that plays guitar, anything. And then the third one is, like. Like is a little bit like want. The major difference between these two are how crucial you consider this trait to be. Like maybe I would say I want a boyfriend that is taller than me, and I like men that are over 175 centimeters or something. And after you have considered all these three conditions, we can finally get to it would be nice. Like you can say it would be nice if my future partner can play guitar. But you usually don't break up or reject someone just because he can't play guitar, right? So that is the things that you should consider. When you meet someone, ask yourself first, what is the trait that you like? What is his most attractive part? And then you should consider which category does that trait falls in. And now that we know about these 4 categories, when are we going to need it? Well, at any point of our life, we might encounter someone that we have a crush on. And sometimes even after we're taken, people's hearts, the heart wants what it wants. But how can we identify if this person is good enough for us? So first, if you're single, ask yourself first, does this person's trait fulfill your needs? And if that trait falls into any category but the needs, leave them, all right? They're not good enough for you. And if you're not single, still ask yourself first, is your partner right now, can he or she fulfill your needs? If yes, well then leave the new person. You don't need a whole package to stay with someone. Stick with what you chose. But if your current partner cannot fulfill your needs, you can carefully consider if you want to say goodbye or not. No, come on, listen to me, all right? I think intimate relationships are not volunteering work. You have to meet your emotional needs first before you can take care of someone else's. And I have offered a really quick procedure and method to identify your potential partners or something. But I think the most important part is still that you need to believe in yourself first. You need to believe that you are worthy of everything that is the best. I've seen a lot of friends that settle for something that's something or someone that's not good enough for her. But I believe that you don't need to. You need to know that yourself is deserved of everything that's the best. And that is the one thing I think that's most essential, and I want you to take away today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I remember when I was studying in the United States, someone told me that don't ever settle for the second. So that I kept that in mind. So if you think that your prospective boyfriend is not going to be someone that you're looking for, just leave him. This is something you need to learn. So Maxine, you can take a look at her. She's about my height. I think she's taller than me. I somehow always thought that tall girls are always outspoken. Do you agree? No, you don't. Jackie says no. But I'm wrong. I always thought that tall girls would be outspoken and very outgoing, but I myself is not like that at all whatsoever. But even though some people would say, Pauli, you're outspoken. Yeah, kind of a little bit, but I'm not really a confident person. I'm an introverted person. I kind of have to emphasize that one again. So Maxine was shy in the very first few classes, if you could remember. But then she learned to relax a bit more day by day. I think that everybody is like that. So I guess we all have been in this kind of course, in this kind of situation in this course, right? So today she's going to talk to us about killer whale. Thank you. Give her a round of applause.
everyone. As a whale lover, today I'm going to tell you some story about killer whale. Killer whale is a toothed whale belonging to oceanic dolphin family. It is recognizable by its black and white pattern body and its dorsal fin. Female killer whale has a shorter, curved dorsal fin, while the male killer whale has a taller and upright dorsal fin, which can reach height up to 180 centimeters. Now, look at the picture. This is Tillicum. Guess, it is female or male killer whale? Okay.
Female.
Female. Now, if you think it's a female, please raise your hand. Okay, guys, you are all wrong. He is a male killer whale. About why his dorsal fin is curved, I'll tell you in later story. Okay. In 1973, a whale ship in Iceland captured juvenile whale for amusement park. They employed cruel methods that led to the death of many young whales. Surviving whales were transferred to the land while the deceased one whale tied to the rock and sunk into the sea. So at that scene, they only left with the grieving mother crying. It made desperate cry and crushing the fish net. So on that day, Tillicum was brought to the human land in marine amusement park in Canada. The training method there they employ is collective punishment. They will let female whale to assist young whale in learning performance. If the whale can do the performance well, all the whale can get a full reward. However, if the new whale fails to complete the performance, all the whale will go hungry. So in that situation, Tillicum was being bitten by other whale because he is a newcomer. So under such stressful condition, Tillicum's physical and mental health deteriorated. So that's why his dorsal fin is curved to the left side. Okay. So now, I think you guys is a little bit upset. So now we all know that this high intelligence animal cannot be trapped in a cage. They will feel desperate, even crush the whale in an amusement park. So if you guys have travel to the Japan, Canada, China, this country still has dolphin show. So if you guys visit there, please do not watch whale performance. Thank you.
I personally have seen the show quite some time in SeaWorld. I went to SeaWorld a few times in SeaWorld in Southern California. And it's a sad thing, but it was excited. I think there's one Universal Studio or something. It was a show. I think I have seen it a few times. We never really thought about this is a sad thing for animal to be cramped into a tiny little cage until I started having cats. So our next speaker is Olivia. Olivia always sits in the front row and was never ever afraid to express her thoughts or responses to the questions raised in the class, either by me or by fellow classmates. She may not be the most one-on-one in this class, but I think she's definitely one of the many that always answer my questions. And now let's welcome Olivia.
Hi. Hi everyone, I'm Olivia. Today I would like to talk to you about a healthy lifespan called 168 intermittent fasting and its potential benefits. Intermittent fasting has gained significant. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. Has gained significant attention in recent years for its because it is very has gained significant attention in recent years. In recent years as a strategy for weight loss and improved health. Among the various approaches, the 168 method has gained popularity due to its simplicity and feasibility. So what is 168 intermittent fasting? The concept is quite straightforward. It involves fasting for 16 hours and limiting the eating windows to 8 hours. For example, one could choose to eat between 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. and restricting the fasting hours for 16 hours, including overnight sleep. One of the main reasons people are drawn to 116 intermittent fasting is its potential for weight loss. By limiting the eating window, individuals tend to consume fewer calories overall. Additionally, the body during the fasting period, the body utilizes stored fat as an energy source, leading to fat loss. However, the weight loss result can vary from person to person, and other factors of diet quality and exercise also affect it. So it doesn't mean that you can eat whatever you want during the period. Even if you practice 168 intermittent fasting for over a year, eating junk food every day, they won't make you lose weight and may even make you gain weight. It is best to consume the necessary calories for your basal metabolic rate and add a little bit exercise to reach a better result. The importance to approach 168 intermittent fasting with caution and consult with healthcare professional before starting any new diet or fasting regime. This method may not be suitable for everyone, especially someone who has mental health problem or someone who is pregnant or breastfeeding. It is essential to listen to your body and make adjustments to match your personal needs. In conclusion, 168 intermittent fasting is a popular health trend. While it may offer some benefits, it is necessary to match your personal needs. Remember, maintaining a healthy lifestyle is essential for your personal health. Thank you.
Okay, so she was too nervous. Right now, we're gonna welcome Sheila. Sheila is going to upload her file. I'm going to talk a little bit about her. Do you guys remember her? What did she do? Two stage left turn. It was it got into me. I kind of got rooted into my head. So every time when I was driving my scooter, I was looking for the sign. And when I saw the box, I would see there's a sign. Was there any sign? There's any sign. So I did that for a couple weeks, and it's kind of really interesting though. So I have to admit that Sheila, I had difficulty again remembering Sheila's name. But then after a few more presentations and discussions in class, not just her presentations though, and also your presentations, you guys asked your classmates to discuss in small groups, she actually surprised me. Even though she doesn't always answer my questions, she is never one of them. But when she was asked upon, she will always surprise us. I think that's a very good attitude when your name was called upon. So let's welcome Sheila to give us a talk.
And hello everyone. Today our topic is Zentangle. I first got exposure to Zentangle when I was an 11-year-old girl. And I didn't have superb drawing skill, but I still can draw Zentangle patterns and complete an amazing artwork. And that briefly introduces what Zentangle is. It is a method to draw beautiful patterns through simple and regular stroke. And finally, I will introduce 5 features of it. The first, it is simple and easy to start. With a few basic Zentangle patterns, everyone can start to create his own unique Zentangle artwork anywhere. You only need one pen and one paper, then you can start drawing, no matter what kind of pen you use or what size of paper you draw on. Pencils are okay, and color pens are okay too. And even you use a small pieces of paper, you can still draw Zentangle on it. And the second is, it can help us focus and find our inner camp. Creating Zentangle artwork is a kind of silent meditation. By concentrating on the present stroke and line, you can detach ourselves from the noise of the outside world and let go of the worries about others' expectation or outcome or the final outcome. Third, there is no answer in the Zentangle artwork word. And without predefined correct solution, Zentangle become more free but also challenging. And initially, the freedom may cause us to feel a little unsettled because most of us are get used to searching for the correct solution. But after practicing, it will be an exciting and liberating experience. Fourth, there is no eraser in Zentangle world. Just like the journey of our life, some mistake or regrets will happen during the process, but they don't need to be corrected in Zentangle world. And these so-called mistakes can become a new starting point that leads your Zentangle art to another unexpected and exciting direction. Last but not least, one of the most attractive features of Zentangle is the unknown outcome. Unlike most of other art forms, when you start a Zentangle art, you don't know what exactly the finished artwork will look like, but the completed artwork will often surprise you and delight you. To sum up, Zentangle provides us a simple way to create beautiful patterns and also help us to find our inner camp. Zentangle tells us that being simple and regular can also be transformed into beauty and amaze. So let's pick up a pen and let's embrace the beauty of Zentangle. Thank you.
She kind of made it easy, right? Zentangle. I tried it before a couple of years ago and I hated it because I don't have a beauty standard at all, so I don't have a sense of that. Whatever I did, I always had to link it with English, and that's my shortcoming. But then, if you kind of enjoy Zentangle, I guess you're going to like it. It's going to calm yourself down, and I think it's something that you should give it a shot. So the next person is Sharon. To me, again, I'm gonna focus on my aging problem again. I can't remember her, but one thing that I remember is that Sharon always tries to keep everything to herself or in her own group. So she knows her friends in this class, but again, it's really difficult for me to remember you if you don't speak. But once you listen to her, you would know she's one of the ones that have a beautiful accent, English accent in this class. So let's welcome Sharon.
As you guys might notice or not, I'm not the kind of person that is outspoken or talkative. Instead, I'm quite the opposite. Growing up, most of my teachers and acquaintances would make a comment about me as a girl who always accomplished tasks silently, or you would have been better if you were more outgoing. Although my parents and my bestie might not think it that way. They may describe me as too chatty at some point. You may wonder why a person can be a man with few words and motor mouth at the same time. In fact, no one in the world is exact extrovert or introvert. We all lie in the spectrum with extroverted on one side and introverted on the other. However, it seems that extroverts are highly praised compared to introverts. Have you guys ever longed to be an introvert? I guess no one, right? When it became clear that it was a great advantage to be an extrovert, I gradually started to get rid of the label introvert attached on me. I participated in a lot of parties, gatherings, and clubs. I even accepted the invitation from my senior to go to a nightclub, just to pretend that my hobbies were hanging out with others and meeting new faces, just like Megan. But guess what? Personally, I don't think I failed, since I indeed met some amazing people. But my body and my soul couldn't afford such overloading social lifestyle. I got quite serious health issues and a lot of pressure from that semester. I felt so gloomy and was jealous of people who are naturally extroverted and their ease when they are with a bunch of strangers. I was envious of people being capable of participating in a lot of activities but still enjoy themselves. To be honest, I felt so frustrated. But then I watched a video from Hong Daqian about introverts. He told us that the characteristics introverts have are not all about negative, and never should we overlook them. For example, introverts tend to be more careful and comprehensive when making decisions. We are inclined to listen carefully to others' opinions so that we can organize our thoughts in our minds and then convey the most precise ones. Moreover, introverts can be really talkative under certain situations. So thank you for Hong Daqian for making me understand that there are a bunch of people out there who are also introverts and struggling and self-doubting for being introverts. He wanted to stress that being introverted is not a defect, but a merit, and I can confirm that right now. I'm not saying that we should always hide in our small dens and refuse to interact with others. What I mean is that we should leave some solitary time for ourselves and those who are worth spending with. Because that is how we recharge after a long, stimulated day. I want to shout out to those introverts. You are not alone. Although we are not, we might have, although extroverts appear to have easier lives than us, but we can still be the impact in our unique way. Just as what Gandhi said, in a gentle way, we can shake the world. Thank you.
Awesome. I remember when I was in college, and I started realizing that being an introvert is not going to get me anywhere. So literally in college. So I told myself that Pally, you should push yourself a little bit day by day. In the future, you're going to have a brighter future like those outgoing people, because I wasn't really outgoing, even though I was the captain of the volleyball team in my department. It doesn't make any sense, right? An introvert person and you're the captain of the team. But when I played volleyball, I was outgoing. When I was in other classes, most of the time I was the quiet one. But eventually, I pushed myself to look like an outgoing person. So when the very first international conference, I had to deliver my presentation about my research paper. I stood in the front. Somehow my supervisor, my thesis supervisor's friend, was sitting in the audience. I was talking about my research paper, and I said, you guys can't really understand that. Can I tell you that I'm an introverted person? And they go like, hell no. And then after the presentation, 45 minutes presentation is kind of really long, right? And then my teacher's friend went ahead and sent my teacher an email telling her that, hey Leah, your student Pally did a really good job. And I tell you that she's not an introvert at all whatsoever. So again, everybody, like what Sharon says, no one is completely 100% extrovert or introvert. So guess the next person is Sophie. So do you think she's an introvert or extrovert? So now you see her. So introvert or extrovert? Both?
Do you ask me?
I'm asking them, but I guess they are not answering. Okay. Extrovert or introvert? Extrovert, totally. So everyone knows her. Perhaps not by her name, but everyone in the class, so as long as she steps out, everybody remembers her, right? Okay. Everybody knows that she's really humorous, right? But right now she's holding a microphone, seems like she's a little bit shy right now, but she's not. So some people hate to have an accent. And we all know that Sophie had an accent. But it doesn't really stop her from speaking out what she thinks. I think that's a very, very great merit that she should keeps. If she wants to change her accent, I guess you're welcome to change your accent, but I think that's also one of your personal charm, so you should keep it that way. So let's just welcome Sophie.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone, here's Sophie. Today I didn't prepare for PowerPoint because I think I already prepared for PaoPoint. And today I'm going to give a topic which is about beauty. That's why I didn't prepare it, because everybody should watch me. Okay. When I was in junior high school, it's about 15 or 14, I guess, and I met a boy who is very handsome, and he's very tall and has a charming smile and good at playing basketball, and he is so excellent at math, which made him always top 5 in school. And most importantly, he has the great sense of humor, which made me obsessed with him. At that time, I determined myself that I need to get that guy by any cost. So I decided to apply lots of cosmetic stuffs on my face and always make sure I have a perfect hairstyle to show up in front of him or something. Not only of that, Instagram went viral at that time. So I decided to post lots of bright things, bright side of my life, like coffees, cakes, or nice place, expensive meals, or something. Oh, and the selfie with happy filters, everybody's memory, okay? Oh, not only me, okay. But why I decided to do these things, because I think if I'm more beautiful than other girls, then I will be more qualified to get his like for sure. However, things goes not that well, because I can sense that he started to keep the social distance from us, between us. Yeah. At that time, I didn't realize the main reason why, because I just think, maybe I just don't do that enough. After a while, we had a sports day, and all the students need to light up to give a performance. At that time, a girl from next class was chatting with her friend, and I was paying attention to that girl because she is known for her beauty and her well grades in our school. On top of that, many boys want to be her boyfriend, so I want to learn something from her. So I enjoy that conversation in silence. I heard their conversation intense. Yeah. And I know that sounds a little creepy because everybody don't wanna share your conversation with strangers. But I'm very glad that I do that creepy things because that changed my perspective to beauty. Her friend asked her, "Oh, I saw you wear these watches from. Oh, I saw you wearing this watch from elementary school. It's been a long time, and I saw the watch that could be more normal." However, she said, it's a gift from one of my best friends." And she said it with a pure smile and a grateful eyes, which make me so impressed. And she said it like a treasure. In that time, I still realized that. Oh, sorry, I forget one sentence. Okay. At that time, I started to realize that beauty is not the superficial things, like I said, lipstick color or how much like you get from Instagram posts, but the way you cherish this world gave you. I think beauty is like flower. Fake flowers, artificial flowers is eye-catching, yes. They are always perfect from any angle all the time, yes. True flower, but if you close your eyes, you can feel the fragrance. You can tell it is a flower, let alone beautiful flower. However, true flowers live in this world. They enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the rain, and even dance happily with the breeze. If you close your eyes, you can feel the fragrance all around. Yeah, I still can tell you that I completely know the beauty is. However, one thing for sure is beauty is not the things we need to chase, but to experience. Thank you guys for listening and have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Getting a boy is not easy, right? Getting a girl is more difficult. So, next person is going to be another shy girl. And some of you may not remember her, but then she's always the shy one, even though she sometimes thinks that she's not confident enough. But she doesn't talk with a panicking kind of tone of voice. So Kathy, in my teaching career, every single Kathy that I have come across is always with good commands of English. I don't know if you know anything about that. Do you guys understand me? Every single Kathy that I have ever taught, they all have good English. But I don't mean that Kathy, right here, right now, doesn't have a good command of English. She has a better way. When she talks, she always can talk with that elegant voice. It's not like Polly talks like that. Even though through the video you could tell that my voice is beautiful, but then she's not like that. She talks with a very tender voice, good command of English, not really fast, not really loud. So this is a very good voice for telling a story. So right now, let's welcome Kathy.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Casey. Today, I would like to share the growth I gained from being a volunteer. The beginning of my volunteer journey took place when I was 16. I traveled to an elementary school in northern Thailand to teach children Chinese. And in this journey, one day I asked children, "What is your dream?" And to my surprise, they shook their hand and said they didn't know. This saddened me because I think the children at this age, they can have a lot of dreams. In response, I decided to share various professions to them, and I hope through my sharing, I can sow a seed of dream in their heart. And before I left the school, a young boy looked at me with teary eyes and said, "Teacher, I want to be a pilot in the future because I want to fly to Taiwan to find you." At that moment, I felt so deep moved, and I realized that I have the ability to bring about a small but meaningful change in a child's world. Okay, in college, I joined the service-oriented club, and during the summer and winter vacation, I will go to a tribal primary school to accompany children. And through our action, I realized that the meaning of service lies not in how much we give or receive, but in the value we create through our process of mutual companionship. And last year, I becoming a year-round volunteer for 140. 140 is now a profit organization to dedicate the migrant workers' education. And through our action, and I realized I have the ability and influence to convey my thoughts and values to people. And this has brought me a great sense of accomplishment and confidence. And through my volunteering experience, I want to tell guys, remember your action can bring infinite possibility to the world and yourself. Don't underestimate your influence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Volunteering, I think, should be imposed as a must-take course for college students. Because once you volunteer, you will be able to know that whatever you are having may not be something that other people have. Then you will be able to cherish the world. Our next speaker is Maggie. And I believe that if you're an introverted person, you will hang out with an introverted person. And if you are extroverted people, you usually will hang out with extroverted people, right? Do you agree? So Maggie is one of the shy students in this class. You may not hear her talking a lot, but I remember she talks about pets, right? Do you remember what kind of pets she was talking about?
Parrots.
That's a Lulu. She talks about cats. Very cute cats. So let's welcome Maggie.
Hello, I'm Maggie, and today I'm going to talk about social behavior. As humans, we are naturally living groups. So we cannot avoid interacting with people in our life. So socializing is a fundamental part of our lives. And but now maybe someone will argue against this idea by saying that they don't need friends, they can live alone, or they feel more comfortable being by themselves. But I don't think that means they can live without socializing, because in our lives we all interact with others every single day. Like when we go to the store and buy something, actually we are interacting with the clerks. And there is a famous experiment that called white room experiment. And it requires participants to stay alone in a white room for 5 days. And you can only bring 3 personal items with you. And the cell phone or computer is, you cannot bring these things. Yeah. And some participants fall apart just after a few hours, while others push through until the end. However, those who persist have become more susceptible to negative thoughts, and it has been proven that when people isolate themselves for long periods, their mood will become unpredictable, and they are easily to fall into negative thoughts. Yeah. And after hearing of this, if you were put in that experiment, do you think you will survive? Well, for me, my answer is maybe, because I don't have such similar experiences before, but when I stay alone, I often drowning myself in negative thoughts, because like I will doubting myself, criticizing myself, and pushing unnecessary pressure on myself. Especially in college, where I have a lot of free time and see my peers achieving great things, and it's easy to fall into the trap of self-doubt. Yeah, but I think those challenges can be overcome through the socializing with others, because when we share our thoughts, experiences, and emotion to others, we feel much better after we have spoken out. But sometimes we'll feel a little tired of socializing, but it's fine, because I think socializing is not just making a small talk or having a good time with others. It's about connecting with others and finding support and feeling like we belong together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think this is the best talk of her performances ever. Socializing is not my strong suit. And like I said, I don't really like to hang out with people. I like to keep everything to myself. But I believe that a lot of people are like that. So let's welcome Jackie, the next speaker. Jackie is the first person I ever remember in this class. And because she always answered my questions, she and Thomas are the only two in the very beginning of the class always answer my questions. And another reason is that she was wearing 国民法官 masks. So guess what the major I guessed her major was? Law. Until I checked my roster, not just last night, a few weeks ago I checked my roster. I was like, what? Japanese? And then I told her, you don't strike me as a person who studies Japanese. And guess what she said? Sorry. So she has the humor, she has the guts, she has the bravery in order to speak. But sometimes I think she has that lack of confidence a little bit in her as well. So let's see what Jackie has to say today. Let's welcome Jackie.
Never mind. Professor and fellows, I'm Jackie, and today I'm delighted to introduce a non-profit organization in Taiwan that has been dedicated for providing elder care services for over a decade, with its particular focus on remote areas. The organization's name is called A Kernel of Wheat, or a kernel of wheat, or a foundation, or 一粒麦子基金会 in Chinese, not Taiwanese. Yeah. So this foundation was established by Cooperative Council Taidong Church, and its name, A Kernel of Wheat, is derived from a passage in the Gospel of John. Unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. So this name actually highlights the Christian value of sacrifice and love. So during the early age of this foundation, so they actually focused on providing specialized elder cares, especially for the elderly individuals with dementia. Dementia is is 失智症. Yeah, so they established many senior daycare centers in the communities to offer a place for elderly for engaging in activities, learning, and socializing. And when time went on, they expand their services to a wider range of support. It includes meal delivering, or like home care services for disabled seniors or individuals with disabilities, such as like taking shower for them. Yeah. So in conclusion, it is important to note that Taiwan entered the aging society in 1993 and transitions into aged society in 2015. 2015. And projections indicate that Taiwan will soon become super aged society, 超高龄社会, by 2025. Yeah, it's two years more. So it means that it is very important for each and every one of us to recognize this significance and take immediate actions to build accessible and sustainable cities and communities together in our society. So this is my speech. Thank you.
Thank you. When Jackie said that she wants to talk about this organization, I was really excited because dementia is something that's going on in my family, and I do think that the aging problem is a very, very big issue in Taiwan. Our next speaker is Sabrina. Her major is Arabic, and we all know that when we learn a second foreign language is going to affect our very first foreign language. So for example, Japanese is supposed to be pronounced Japanese instead of Japanese. And origin is supposed to be pronounced origin, not origin. But Arabic doesn't seem to have any problem for Sabrina to pronounce any English words. So now let's welcome Sabrina for her talk.
Okay, today I'm going to share Universe 25. That is an experiment that is conducted in the early 90s. And this is about some problem with mouses, overpopulation. So those researchers, they built a really big house for the mouses, and they put a lot of food, a lot of water, and everything they need for survive. And firstly they put 8 mouses into the box, and they are, sorry. So they put 8 mouses into the box and waiting for them to have kids to live in that place. But after a while, like years after, those rats just died. They all dead. But they have all the foods and all the water they need. Why they died? So that's the topic that I want to talk about today. So the problem is that those rats, because they can live for a very long period, right? So there's a lot of old rats that they have very high social status. They have a lot of kids, they have a lot of wives, and they have a bigger territory. So those young mouses, they have no room to fight for. There's no reason for them to live, because there's no female mouses who like to have kids with them, because they don't have any power in the mouse society. So they just stop doing anything. They're just sitting there and eating food with their friends and cleaning their hair, staying beautifully, and doing nothing. So after a while, all those rats just dead. So it makes me wonder, like, I think it is very crucial and a very serious problem in the modern society, because there's too many people in this world right now. And we can see that there's many people lose the hope of their life because they think there's no room for them to fight for. There's no reason, there's nothing worthy of their hard working. So, and then, but some people said that we humans are a very different species, right? We have higher IQ, we have emotion, so we are not going to be like Universe 25, those mouse, like their trendy life. And then it makes me want to ask you guys, do you think that we are going to end up like Universe 25, like everybody died because there's no reason to fight for? Or do you think that overpopulation, this kind of problem, is going to be solved one day? Yeah, because I personally think that we are going to do. Okay, thanks, you guys.
Thank you. I think eventually we're all gonna die. But I don't think overpopulation is a problem in Taiwan.
Yeah.
But I do think that if something disaster is about to happen, then we would lose the hope to live. I don't remember the term, the movie was Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence.
Don't look up.
Yeah, don't look up. If that happens to us, what would you do? I think I'll just sit in my house playing with my cats, drink my coffee, and that was it. Because you're gonna die, everybody's going to die, right? But then there are other people who say we should try to find the solution. But I know deep down I'm not that one. Okay, so right now we're gonna welcome Lulu, the parrot and turtle owner. I think this is the only thing you guys remember her, right? Okay, Lulu, she has a very interesting dream. She wants to run a ranch that raises animals. She wants to offer them a very safe haven for them to live for the rest of their life. I think right now, I don't think you can see any students who go to top universities who like to run a farm. But I wonder whether her parents would say, sure, we're gonna buy a big land for you to run a farm. So let's welcome Lulu.
Hello everyone, today my topic is hope for the best and prepare for the worst. I think this is my soul toward life and I think it's quite useful, so I want to share with you guys. I think I am a positive thinker and a negative thinker at the same time. I tend to think of things more pessimistically, but at the same time, I will try my best to achieve and looking forward to a good outcome. Last year, just 2 days before New Year's Eve, I was taking my Spanish class, and my mom suddenly texted me. She said, Lulu, let's not celebrate for the New Year because your grandpa passed away. And at that time, I was so shocked that my brain was gone blank. So I rushed to the toilet and tried to calm down myself. I just can't believe it because my grandpa didn't have any critical illness. It's so something that I can't accept it. It made me feel that life is full of uncertainty. So from then on, I can't stop imagining everyone of my family members leaving me, including my parents. So
And turtle.
and turtle, yeah. But I think my turtle,
It's
I
gonna
think
live
I will
longer
leave my
than-
turtle. And so when I think of my parents' death, it was really painful and I always burst into tears. But I think it's like a rehearsal that you should think about what you can do when you are in this terrible situation. And it's always better to be prepared than when the things come too suddenly and you don't know what to do. Okay, and there's one time I went back to my high school. I went to chat with my teacher, and he asked me, what do you want to do after your graduation? I told him that I want to be a pilot, and I will put all effort into it after my graduation. And he was like, are you sure? What do you feel? You should leave yourself an option. And at first, I was really upset because I think my teacher was looking down on me. I think he didn't think I was capable of being a pilot. So, but however, after thinking about it, I think he's right because things could really happen. I should think about what if I fail to be a pilot, what else I can do and be mentally prepared. So preparing for the worst does not mean that you can't be confident and looking forward to your future. It's more like to build up your mindset if things don't go as well as you expected. So this is my little suggestion for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I think older generations would always tell you that give yourself a backup plan. It doesn't hurt you. It only tells you that once you fail for the very first option, you can always have a second option. So the next speaker is Morgan. Morgan was supposed to graduate last week, very similar to Peter, but then, because we still have 3 weeks to go, so she got stuck with me. So since, similar to other senior students, she never really asked me, Pally, is it okay for me to finish the course early or anything? Peter didn't ask me, Morgan didn't ask me, so it was kind of cool because in the previous semesters, every single year, if that happens, I have the senior students, they would always ask me, can we finish the course earlier? I would say, well, if I let you finish the course earlier, it's probably not gonna be easier for me to rearrange the whole thing. So thank you for you too, so far, I don't know. Do we have a third person who's always a senior? Oh my goodness. Okay, then I totally forgot that you guys are seniors. So thank you so much for letting me. Oh yes, you too. You too?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much for letting me arrange the class as I had anticipated. So Morgan, she studies. Guess what she studies now? Not now, but what she studies. It's always law, right? Somehow you always think that everybody studies law. So I guess you should change your major to major in law. So Morgan studies in law and has a passion for, guess what? Okay, everybody thinks, well, some people would say photography. I think nowadays a lot of people are into photography. She's into psychology and Korean culture. So let's see what she is going to talk.
to us.
Okay, so hello everyone, I'm Morgan. Today I'm going to talk about MBTI. Oh, since it's PDF, so I need to swipe all the slides. Okay, so have you ever heard people ask you, what is your MBTI? Or have you ever heard someone discuss their MBTI? So what exactly is MBTI? Okay, so the MBTI is a personality test that help people know their own personality traits or others' personality preferences. And there are 16 different personality types. And this test has become famous in recent years, especially in Korea. And some companies even adopt MBTI tests for making hiring decisions. And each type has 4 letters, and each letter has 2 options, so 2, 2, 2, 2. So there are 8 letters in total. So next, what are the letters? Okay, so the first 2 are E and I think it's the easiest to understand is extrovert and introvert. Okay, so the next 2 are sensing and intuition. It's S and N. Since we already have I, so here we use N to represent intuition. And these 2 letters means how we observe the world. S means S people are focused more on concrete information such as facts and numbers, and while N people focus more on abstract things such as concept or meanings and possibilities. Okay, so the third groups are thinking and feeling, T and F. And these 2 letters means how we make decisions. Thinking types are more logical, objective, and rational when they're making decisions, while feeling type cares more about their own feelings or other people's feelings when they're making a decision. Okay, so the last 2 letters are J and P, refer to judging and perceiving. And these 2 means how people think about schedule or deadline. Judging types are more prefer structure and organization, and they prefer to make plans and following their plans, while perceiving types are more flexible and adaptable, which means they don't like to make plans ahead and always not always, most of the time they prefer to do the thing right before the deadline. Okay, so this is the 16 result of MBTI. And for me, I'm INFP, which means I always do things before deadline. Yes. Okay, and here also comes some of my reminders for using MBTI tests. Okay, so the first, and I think it's the most important things we need to know is that MBTI results are changeable, which means you may have different results when you test. Every time you may get different results. Because our personality falls on a continuum rather than fit in specific categories. And we may have different choices based on different situations. Like probably say she is an introvert, but in class we can see she is kind of an extrovert. Yes, and MBTI is just a way to understand our personality. It cannot totally represent who we are, but I still think it's an interesting way to know ourselves and others. So do not define a person by his or her MBTI. Okay, so if you haven't taken the test or if you want to retest again, you can scan the QR code and do the test after class. Okay, that's the end of my sharing. Thanks for listening.
MBCI is really interesting. I personally like the slides, very simple and very plain, and that the drawings are great. So our next speaker is Cheryl. Cheryl is one of the students, actually there were 2 or 3 or 4. She was one of the students who came to see me to seek for tips to learn English or how to improve her English. But to me, I think her English is already great. So I think she's a humble person and sometimes can be a bit more insecure, if I'm right. But in the meantime, she's also hardworking. I could tell that she always prepared really well, but sometimes she doesn't think that she did well. So right now, we're gonna welcome Cheryl to share what she's going to say.
A few days ago, I attended the graduation ceremony in our department, and it was not until that moment that I realized that time flies and my journey of university life is going to end. And just like every graduation ceremony I attended before, and it always triggers some memory combined with happiness, sadness, and bitterness. And some part of that memory can actually serve as a connection to those good old days. Okay. Back to the time when I was in senior high school, since I was a student in the affiliate high school of National Gender University, which is located in the mountain next to NCCU, the only way for me to go to school on time is to catch the bus called Brown 11, which will directly head into the mountain next to NCCU. And since it served as the main vehicle for me to go to school every day, it became an important part of my memory in high school life. Therefore, every time when I see Brown 11 pass by the bus station, it always reminds me of those good old days in high school life. Okay, I think most of us, or literally everyone, have similar experiences when we encounter the things, the smell or the taste that remind us of those good old days, right?
Yes.
Okay, actually this kind of phenomena is called nostalgia, which means 怀旧思乡 in Chinese. Nostalgia is a feeling or emotion that arises when we remember or long for the things in the past. And it is like a bittersweet affection for people, locations, of experiences that we are refined and meaningful. Okay, until today you can still see a lot of nostalgic things around us. For example, a few weeks ago, one group presentation is talking about Y2K. And it is actually the latest commercialized example of the using of nostalgia. And what's more, you may be more familiar with the comeback of Slurpee, which is truly a part of our happy childhood. Last but not least, being nostalgic doesn't mean we tend to be confined to our past. Instead, a nostalgia reminds us of the meaning of our life. And with those precious moments, we are able to realize how meaningful our life is. Thanks for listening.
Okay, thank you so much. I think Slurpee was good timing. It was really interesting when I noticed that Ian posted that message. It was really cool. So the next speaker is Xinro. If she hadn't, I remember the very first time when she spoke on the stage, if she hadn't mentioned that she was from Malaysia, I don't think any one of you would have noticed that she was actually from Malaysia. But after we knew that she is from Malaysia, we started noticing there's something a little bit in her speech that tells that she's from Malaysia. So her English is great. She's one of the best ones that I have ever taught, the Malaysian student that I have ever taught at NCCU. So let's see what she's going to share with us. Something that I really admire of her is that she had a very great relationship between her and her grandma. So let's welcome Xinrou.
Hi everyone. Internet search engines have become readily available on our technological devices, and many people nowadays are becoming reliant on self-diagnosing when they experience pain or distress or other symptoms. So, however, diagnosing yourself might sometimes the result is inaccurate, especially with an illness that as serious as depression, and that can worsen your mental health. And this may cause you to bear the burden of a phantom of sickness. So today I'm going to share you about the difference between feeling depressed and having a depression. So we may feel depressed, better phrased as feeling sad or blue when bad things happen. For example, the loss of a game, setbacks at work, a breakup, or even a gloomy day can trigger these feelings. And that's okay. Typically, these feelings come and go and dissipate over time. And depression, on the other hand, it's a long-term mental illness and characterized by ruthlessness, hopelessness, despair, and can negatively impact our actions and thoughts. And it can be debilitating and require additional support rather than having just a feeling of depressed. Unlike physical illnesses that can often have visible symptoms, depression is easily neglected as it's hard to be detected. And what's more, there's still a lot of stigma surrounding depression. People who don't understand about depression may think that the patient is just being overthinking. Maybe he or she is weak-minded or unable to resist pressure. So due to the labels given by the misconceptions of depression, the patients dare not to seek help from others. So how can we do to help the patients? So first, the more you learn about depression, then the better you can help them. According to the Diagnostic Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, there are 9 symptoms of depression defined. So if you recognize the symptoms above in someone you love in the last 2 weeks, then you can advise him or her to seek for an evaluation from a mental health professional. Besides, you can also show your care about their feelings. If they want to talk, then please just listen carefully to them and don't give any advice or opinions. And don't judge them by words like, come on, be happy, or take it easy, or nah, don't overthink. Yeah, these words can only worsen their condition, and it really won't help them. Yeah, and just listening and being understanding can be a powerful healing tool. So last but not least, actually got caught in depression before too, and I really appreciate my family members and friends who accompany me walking through the hardship. All we need to do is be patient, and because coping with depression really takes time. So all we need to do is understand what happens to us inside. And depression is usually not a condition that can easily get rid of like a cold. So here's a quote that I would like to use to end my speech today. It's everything will pass. Sad things come and go, same as the happy ones. So why don't we cherish the moment and live in the moment? Yeah. So
Thank you. Thank you. We still have about 3 people, so the next speaker is Nina. In the beginning of the semester, we all wore masks. So did Nina. So even though she was shy, but she was contributive in group discussions. But again, I had a hard time remembering her. So right now, let's welcome Nina to give us a talk.
But before I go into my content, let me ask you a question. Do you get along well with your family? It is a simple but difficult question, I think. Because maybe it's because your parents always want to control you although you come of age. Or maybe it's an ambiguous emotion like you feel a sense of detachment. Or something like you see your parents never understand you. And it can be trivial or huge, right?
Right.
Just recall your memory. To me, I didn't have a peaceful relationship with my family because I raised by my grandparents because my parents are too busy to take care of me. So to some extent, you can say that they were absent from my childhood. And I don't think it's a big deal until I go back to Taipei and have a life with them. And I found out that there is a huge gap between my parents and me because we don't have common memory. And also, I think that to a little bit focus on themselves. So instead, I have been ignored. And I start in this quagmire until I see a TV series called BoJack Horseman. The character in the BoJack Horseman have also a struggle feeling with his original family. And he think that his family never see him and look after him. And however, things go a little different. At his mom's funeral, he said that his mom said, "I see you," before she passed away. And that made him shocked and feel relieved because that is the word that he really looked forward to, and that is the first time he be seen. And however, something fortunately happened. He found out that his mom didn't mean "I see you." It means ICU, which means intensive care. His mom just read a sign at the hospital. Really ironically. So let me have a views that how to we regard our relationship with our family. And I think that we always want to wait for the moment that our parents apologize to us or our parents become better so we can forgive them. But I think that moment never comes. So I think only the thing that we can do is try to, how to look me and our parents as different individuals. And that can make me have a space to look into different parts, emotion. And that can make us have space to don't get so close to each other. And that can make us feel more comfortable and lose the authentic emotion between us. So I think this is the advice to talk to you guys and let me feel better and let me understand my parents much better. Thank you.
I am watching the Chinese drama called 去有风的地方. I started realizing that there are a lot of people who are raised by their grandparents. But I think drama is always talking about good parts of it. And even in Taiwan, if you're raised by your parents, it doesn't really mean that you would understand your parents, your parents would understand you. It depends on the relationship, how close it can be. Our next speaker is Zoe. Zoe being one of the first few students to present in the very first class, not really in the very first class, in the first few class, but their group was the very first one. They decided to present something that's really difficult. Do you remember the contents that they chose? Death penalty. And they memorized the whole contents. I don't even think I could do that, but they did. So let's welcome Zoe.
Why do we have to go to school? Have you ever thought about this question? Yes! It is probably every child asks their parents. It actually can date back to the second half of 1800s. The mandatory school called on around the world, first in Europe, North America, and Australia, then spreading to Asia and South Africa. Nationalism for starters. Countries want to unite their citizens culturally. And progressive idealists also help schools spread. They want to get children out of horrible working conditions in the factories and into a more advanced careers where they could make more money. However, nowadays, school is teaching us to go to think a certain way and go down a certain path in life. The education system is far too linear, and putting students on the same one-size-fits-all plane and failing to foster independent thinking. So unlike the traditional education system, World of schools offer a developmentally appropriate and experiential approach to education. The goal of World of Education is to develop free but morally responsible individuals, equipped with a high level of social competence and creative capabilities. Homework and test scores receive less attention, and storytelling and experimentation are the main method of instruction. For example, World of Education, World of School use an experiential approach to science, whereby students observe and later describe the scientific concepts in their own words and drawings. This allows the students to, instead of learning the scientific concepts from the books, they can experience the scientific concepts. So, in the spirit of personal development and empathy, competition and grades are being avoided. Teachers instead assess the student's individual growth of character. Today, there are over a thousand World of Schools in 60 countries, and it is making it the largest independent school movement. So what I want to talk to you is that although we were forced to raise in this traditional schooling, but we can still open the doors that we can stray away from this conventional and limited narrow path that education set us upon. You can create and innovate. You can create your own future. That we don't need to follow the path that teachers told you. You need to be successful and to get a normal job or stable job. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is World of Educational Institution, and there's one school system that's very, very similar to This one is called the Greek School in Butler. And the language that they use in order to teach students is in English. So it's called the Greek School. You can Google it. Everything is built with bamboo shoot. And the school is actually in the forest. So you need to move into the forest to live there in order to go to school. Not really go to school. The schooling is done in that place. And everything is on their own. They have to plant their own vegetables. They have to raise their own cattle. They have to have their own solar panel and stuff like that. And kids are coming from all over the world, but the fee is not cheap. Our next speaker is Zach. Again, Zach was one of the students I remember in this course because he always chose the same place to sit, where he was the only male in that corner. And he always has the partner, Letitia. Even so, he was not afraid to express his opinions or share his thoughts. He has the best command of English among all the computer science major students I have ever taught. So he changed my mind about computer science majors male students. So let's welcome Zach, our last speaker today.
Hi everyone, I'm Zach, and for the very last presentation today, I'm going to talk about why should we learn algorithms. Steve Jobs once said that everyone should learn how to program because it teaches you how to think. Sorry, too nervous because I just. I think this is one of the reasons why students nowadays have to learn programming courses, regardless of what you major in. And in these days, even elementary school kids know how to program. However, I think what we should learn is algorithm, not programming. And here's the reason. When it comes to algorithm, you may think of it as how YouTube recommends video to you, or the ads pop up from websites somehow read your mind and show something you want to buy very much. But in fact, algorithm is something simpler. It is the way that we solve problems. For example, if I have a bunch of numbers and I want to sort it from smallest to largest, then the sorting method applied to the numbers is an algorithm. And in fact, sorting algorithms is one of the most classic ones. Now you might be curious about what's the difference between programming and algorithm. Imagine you're going to write a passage, then your ability to hold a pen and write something on the paper is programming. And algorithm is all the things in your mind, including the grammar, the structure, and the ideas. So now you can tell which is more important. Let's be honest, coding isn't interesting at all for most people. When you code for no reason, it's just like writing meaningless words on a paper. So why should we learn algorithm instead of programming? First of all, do you think that everyone should learn how to code? No, right? The programming lessons for beginners usually teach students how to write code. And to be more specifically, they teach syntax. There are plenty of programming languages, and each language are designed for different purposes. So of course they have different syntaxes. There's definitely no reason to study and learn the syntax for beginners. Do law major students have to memorize all the laws? No, right? What we should learn from programming is logical thinking. And it is the thing that algorithms focus on. I think something interesting about algorithm is you can always find a different way to solve a problem. I mentioned the sorting algorithm earlier, right? In fact, there are currently around 40 algorithms that help us solve sorting problems. So actually, study algorithms makes you more creative. After all, our lives have limited time, and choosing what to learn and what to skip is also a lesson. For programming, I think understanding the core concept, like algorithm, is more important than having a skill. So this is the reason why I think it's more important to study algorithm. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think he waited too long, that's why he kind of panicked a little bit, but that.
I thought I'm going to presentation next week.
Okay, so you need to have a backup plan. You even though you have to think for the worst, but you still have to think that maybe Hallie is going to change her mind.
When it comes to Eva, I have to say the very first impression was the time she started coming into the class late. But that's not a good sign. But somehow I always mistakenly taken Sheila as Eva and then Eva as Sheila, even though these two don't look the same at all whatsoever. So everything you can blame to my aging. So let's welcome Eva.
Hello everyone, I'm Eva, and today I'm going to talk about the culture of independent music. Literally, independent music means music which is produced independently. But recently, there are more and more interpretations of independent music. And some think that independent music should be non-mainstream, and as long as the performer belongs to a big company, their music cannot be called independent music. But something that it still depends on whether the music is produced independently or not. However, due to the popularity of internet, there are more and more people start to listen to independent music, and also there are more and more people start to join a rock festival in Taiwan. There are also a lot of interaction between audience in rock festival. So I'll introduce some common interactions in rock festival. And first is mosh pits. And this is the area where the audience will dance like energetically or violently. And they will bump together when the music is on the peak to show their passion for music. And this is, you can see there is a circle, so this is also called circle pits. And when the music is gradually getting close to the choruses, people will make a circle, and then they will start to run around the circle, and then they will mosh together to each other when the music is on the right moment. So we can see the video. They are running around the circle, and now they are waiting for the moment. Like this. Yes. And actually this is a small one. There is a more legendary type of moshing. It is called Wall of Death. And like as the word said, people will slip into two sides and to make an individual wall. And then when the music is on the right time, they will just rush to each other and mosh together. Okay, that just. Like this. And some people in Taiwan call this Red Sea because this is just like Moses parts the Red Sea. Yes. And actually this often appear in metal songs. And if you want to join these moshing, you have to be careful because it is really dangerous in front of the stage, and especially when you are not familiar with this culture. So don't wear slippers or sandals because your feet might be stamped terribly, or don't carry big bags because you might hurt others. And last but not least, if there are people around you fall down, you should make a circle to protect the person until he or she gets up. Yes. And in addition to these moshing, some people also like body surfing. It is just like the picture that people surf on people. And if you want to surf, you will have to find about 3 to 5 people to lift you up, and this is more safe. Also remember to lie on people, not face to people, because people under you might touch some place which is quite private. Yes. And Above this, we can see people under the stage enjoy playing, and this is not only about the relationship between the audience and the band, but also about the passion for music. So these are only parts of the culture, and if you are more interested in these, you can search more information in the internet, or you can try to join it in person if you're not afraid of. And this is my sharing. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Anyway, that's all for today. I think everybody did a really good job. I think it turned out to be really great. You guys gave me a better idea of what I am going to do if I'm going to do this one. So definitely next semester, if I'm going to do this one, I'm not going to use this room.